Hi, my name is Hannah Davies, and today I'm going to be sharing about the East Asian food culture, and particularly the Chinese food culture. So throughout my presentation, there are different pictures of food, and those are pictures that I had taken while I was in China, living there for 6 months. And so I believe that these are great pictures and depictions of the food culture and what was eaten daily. So with that being said, on the right side was the typical meal for Chinese families. There would be about 2 plates of vegetables, and then there would be a protein, as you can see, with more vegetables. So it was very healthy. And then on your left side, there's a dragon fruit. As a snack, we used the toothpicks to eat it, and it was delicious. So with the core and complementary foods for Chinese, core would be the core foods were eggs, seafood, chicken, dumplings, noodles, nuts, soybeans, soy milk. We had a lot of soy milk for breakfast. Complementary is leafy herbs, oil, chutneys. And then secondary foods that we didn't eat as much, tofu, but we still ate a pretty good amount, was tofu, beef, processed meats. Didn't have very much dairy. We'd have little yogurts randomly, but it wasn't like a daily thing. Cheese wasn't eaten a lot. There were cheese flavored things, but not really cheese like in America. And then peripheral foods that we didn't eat like hardly ever, peanut butter, juices, sodas, canned fish. But overall, everything is very delicious. So with the flavor profile, very fresh ingredients are used in the seasoning. There's a lot of seasoning used, and it just makes Chinese food delicious. They don't just do salt and pepper like myself. Since I lived in China, I have now tried to incorporate more seasonings because it just makes food taste delicious, and vegetables, I think, tasted way more delicious because of the seasoning, and I actually wanted to eat more vegetables. It was crazy. But also, like, the fresh ingredients, such as fresh food. We even had a bucket where there was fish just fish swimming around. And when we wanted to eat the fish, we would put it in the bowl and the wok and cook it, and that was our fresh ingredients. And that is a very Chinese thing to do with food. It's just as fresh as it can be. So with meal patterns, there are about 3 meals eaten every day in the Chinese culture, with many snacks. Breakfast isn't too big. A lot of people, they will be walking to work or walking their children to the school bus or to school, and they'll just grab a little bun or egg noodle rolls to eat. A lot of quick things, soy milk. On the right side is a bowl of noodles with vegetables and dumplings, and that was a very great breakfast. And then lunch and dinner, usually about the same things: protein, lots of vegetables. Breakfast tends to be a bit bigger than lunch. Lunch tends to be a bit bigger than dinner and breakfast. And so some people wouldn't really eat as much dinner or skip dinner and just have more snacks if lunch was sufficient. And fruit was mostly just snacks, while protein and vegetables and grains were mostly the meals. And with that family dynamic food, the mother would usually cook the meals, and it was very communal style. The younger diners wouldn't start eating until their elders did, and it was bad manners to eat rice or noodles with a bowl on the table. You had to bring it up to your mouth, with that, religious food traditions. There were multiple food traditions in the Chinese culture. One that I participated in personally was the Dragon Boat Festival, where special dumplings and special foods were made for that event, as well as Moon Festival and the special foods. One of them was the mooncake. And then there were a few other ones that, such as the New Year's one with the kitchen god, with a picture of the kitchen god, and they had special foods for that event as well. So traditional health beliefs and practices in the Chinese culture, they believed in practicing traditional Chinese medicine as well as correlated folk remedies at home, but they also incorporated other concepts as well. And then some specific health beliefs unique to this region was yin and yang. As I personally have watched Mulan many times, I always knew yin and yang just as a necklace, but in the Chinese culture, they believe that yin and yang is what's happening with the body and what it needs. So example, as I wrote down, was weak blood is the yin, and it deals with pregnancy as well as age, as well as the yang deals with treatments. So like what people are taking, what people are eating to better their health. And here's like a diagram of more examples of the yin and yang and what they mean. I thought it was very fascinating, to be honest. And then the values and health of China. Here are a few different graphs with their satisfaction with local health care and the regions and income, as well as the fairness in health and what these people in these regions and health believe that their health care is good or not. So with the nutritionist status report, there seems to be about 8% of adult women and about 7.7% of adult men that are obese. This is something that's surprising. As I lived in China, I didn't see a lot of obese people, hardly any, but it seems like it is growing with adults and children as well. The thinness have gone down, but the overweight of both genders has gone up. The fish and dairy and the vegetable intake are on target for nutrition, but everything else, nuts, fruits, and whole grains, they are not in the nutritional target as they should be. The only one that is consumed way too much is red meat, so it just seems that it is lacking just in the nuts and fruits, and which I'm actually surprised that it's whole grains too, because they eat a lot of whole grains, but I mean, it's better to be less than over. So with that being said, here would be my counseling handout. Obesity can be managed and helped by a change of diet, and so these are a few different steps for someone who is looking to lose weight. And there are certain vegetables and certain fruits that are written on here that are directed towards those living in the Chinese community or from the Chinese community and area, so that they know specifically what they should be having, and that's specific to their area, so they know what foods and fruits they should be looking out for when they're grocery shopping. So some of the changes with the US in Chinese food is that it's more Americanized, as in like sweetened foods and fried foods are more in the US. There are a few more places such as New York and California and Texas that have more authentic Chinese food, and it is due to Chinese immigration of people who are from China, and since they know the ingredients that they use in China, they bring it to America. But other places that are not as populated with immigrants from China or people with the knowledge of Chinese food, it is made a lot differently than in China. So personally, even though I lived in China for 6 months, it was still a very interesting assignment, very knowledgeable assignment, and I got wherein I got to learn more specific things about the food culture in China and more about the religious and the traditional foods and culture, and as well as learning more about yin and yang. That one surprised me. As I said, if somebody is angry, then the liver might have issues and attack other organs. So that is like something unique to the Chinese food culture that I wasn't expecting. But overall, it was a great time to learn, and as well as just, yeah, exactly. But here are the resources that I used to learn more about the Chinese food culture, as well as make this PowerPoint. But overall, that was it. Thank you so much.